The best stories are not just the ones we see on screen, but the ones written in real life, stories of love, passion, and resilience. Kathryn Apanowicz, a name that once graced British television screens, lived such a story. She was not just an actress or a broadcaster. She was a woman of strength, warmth, and deep love. For decades, she brought characters to life on screen, gave voice to stories on radio, and most importantly, shared an extraordinary love with Countdown presenter, Richard Whiteley. But now the world must say goodbye. Kathryn has passed away at the age of 64 after a long illness, leaving behind a legacy that stretches across television, radio, and the hearts of those who knew her. Her passing is not just the loss of a familiar face in entertainment. It is the loss of a remarkable woman who lived life fully, cherished deep connections, and remained true to herself through fame, love, and grief. Kathryn Apanowicz was born in 1960 in Horsforth, Leeds, a place she always carried in her heart, no matter where life took her. She grew up in a hard-working, close-knit family with strong values. From a young age, she was drawn to the world of storytelling, whether through acting or presenting. There was something about the magic of television that fascinated her. The way it could transport people, make them laugh, cry, and feel deeply. Her first taste of the industry came early. As a child, she appeared on Junior Showtime, a Yorkshire television program for young performers. It was her introduction to the world she would later call home. Unlike many child actors, Kathryn didn't fade into the background as she grew older. Instead, she embraced every opportunity that came her way, determined to carve out a career in entertainment. Her acting career truly began when she landed a role in Bugsy Malone, the beloved 1976 musical film. Though it was a small part, it was a sign of greater things to come. The confidence, the charm, the spark, it was all there, waiting to be nurtured. Kathryn became a household name in the 1970s and 80s, thanks to her roles in some of Britain's most popular television dramas. She first gained recognition in Angels, a BBC medical drama where she played Nurse Rose Butcher. It was a role that showcased her ability to bring warmth and realism to a character, making her instantly likable to audiences. Soap opera fans will remember her as Magda Tchaikovsky in EastEnders, a strong-willed and hard-working caterer who found herself entangled in a romance with none other than Den Watts, played by Leslie Grantham. It was a role that brought her into the hearts of millions, cementing her status as a well-known television actress. She made her mark in Coronation Street as well, appearing twice in the show's long history, most recently in 1997. And in Emmerdale, she became part of yet another iconic British drama, showing her ability to adapt to different roles and genres. What made Kathryn stand out was not just her talent, but her approach to her work. She had an effortless way of making a character feel real. She wasn't just playing a role, she was bringing someone to life. And she did it with a sincerity that audiences connected with. As much as she loved acting, Kathryn Apanowicz had an equal passion for presenting. She had a natural ability to engage people, make them feel heard, and turn everyday conversations into something special. Whether on television or radio, she brought warmth, intelligence, and a genuine curiosity that resonated with audiences. She hosted Afternoon Live on Wire TV, a talk-based magazine program that covered everything from lifestyle and entertainment to current events. Her ability to balance lighthearted discussions with meaningful conversations made her a favorite among viewers. Later, she became a presenter on Live Talk, an ITV daytime show aimed at women. Here, she found her place not just as a host, but as a storyteller, discussing issues that mattered in a way that felt personal and relatable. Her voice became familiar to many on BBC Radio Leeds and BBC Radio York, where she took on yet another role, one of companionship. Whether listeners were tuning in during their morning drive or winding down after a long day, Kathryn was there, a steady presence in the background of their lives. She understood the power of radio, the intimacy of it, Unlike television, where the audience watches from a distance, radio is personal. It feels like a conversation between friends. And Kathryn had a way of making every listener feel like she was speaking directly to them, bringing comfort, laughter, and a sense of connection that endured long after the broadcast ended. While Kathryn's career was remarkable, her greatest love story was the one she shared with Richard Whiteley. They met in 1994, and though they never married, their bond was unbreakable. Richard, best known as the charming and witty host of Countdown, found in Kathryn a partner who matched his warmth, humor, and love for life. Their relationship was filled with laughter, adventure, and an unspoken understanding that only true soulmates share. Richard was a man who made people laugh, but Kathryn was the one who made him laugh. She was his rock, his safe place away from the cameras and the bright lights. For over a decade, they built a life together, balancing their busy careers with quiet moments that only they shared. In 2005, when Richard passed away, Kathryn was by his side. It was a loss that shook her to her core. He had been her best friend, her love, her everything, but even in her grief, she chose to honor his memory in the most beautiful way by telling their story. She wrote Richard by Kathryn, The Life of Richard Whiteley, a book that gave the world a glimpse into the man behind the television screen. It was a love letter, not just to Richard, but to the life they had built together. At his memorial service, she stood with quiet strength, surrounded by friends, family, and fans who had adored him. Though her heart was heavy with loss, she carried herself with the dignity and grace that defined her. The news of Kathryn's passing has left many in mourning. Tributes have poured in from friends, colleagues, and fans, all sharing stories of the warmth and kindness she brought into their lives. Krista Ackroyd, a longtime friend and fellow broadcaster, wrote, "Reunited with her beloved Richard, I will miss you so much, my lovely friend. What adventures we had. The world will always be a duller place without you." Carol Vorderman, who had worked closely with Richard on Countdown, shared, "Very sadly, our dear Kathy died yesterday." Kathy was Richard Whiteley's long-term partner and with him when he passed 20 years ago. Now she will be with him again, at his side, where she was always at her happiest. Rest in peace, my friend. Fans, too, have expressed their sadness. One wrote, "I was sad to hear that the presenter and actress Kathryn Apanowicz has passed away. I remember Kathryn's days in EastEnders and her appearing in a charity show in Leicester back in the late 80s. R.I.P., Kathryn." These words reflect the kind of person she was, beloved, respected, and remembered for her kindness as much as for her talent. Though Kathryn is no longer with us, her legacy remains. In the characters she brought to life, in the stories she told, and in the memories she left behind, she will live on. For those who watched her on television, she will always be Nurse Rose, Magda, Carol, and so many others. For those who listened to her on the radio, her voice will linger in the echoes of familiar broadcasts. And for those who knew her personally, she will be remembered as a friend, a confidant, a woman who lived with passion and love. Perhaps the most comforting thought of all is that she is now reunited with Richard, the man who made her happiest. Somewhere beyond time and space, they are laughing again, sharing stories, and continuing their love story in a place where goodbyes no longer exist. As the world mourns her loss, we also celebrate the life she lived. A life full of love, laughter, and an enduring legacy that will never fade. Kathryn Apanowicz's story is one of passion, resilience, and love. From her unforgettable performances to her comforting voice on the airwaves, she touched countless lives. How will you remember her most? Was it her acting, her broadcasting, or her love story with Richard Whiteley that left the biggest impression on you?